not going to do the big reveal, but we will get to here's next in the Doomsday Kingdom. Here's the next issue I'll be reviewing, number 5. Hopefully sooner rather than later. But, yeah, I recommend this. If you want to check out this comic, I recommend just go to doomsdaykingdom.com.
1 2 1 2. Okay.
Issue number 1. I love it.
Oh, I'm live? Wait, what the fuck? What? Hello? I didn't know I was even live yet. Ronny just added this thumbnail. Nice heads up there. Fuck, Jesus. Okay, I try not to swear. I don't want to ruin stuff. Hello, Paula Lee Dean. Paul Lee Dean, should I say, not Paula. Hope you're doing well. We'll start in a second. I just need to set up my windows on my other screen so I can see you all. Can you hear me all right? I'm guessing so if you're talking. Pop out. Well, this should be interesting. I don't know how many people are even on this channel, you know. I see nothing. Let me pull up Facebook there. Alright. Let me go get the link so I can share it. It's so weird. I'm like looking at myself from a third person now. Let me just post on Facebook. Live now with Jim. What's he called? What? What's he talking about? Ronny's talking to me. I'm trying to sort this shit out. Live now. This is the first. It's called an inauguration or something like that. The inaugural stream of Doomsday Kingdom. Ronny, what is what called? What? Oh. Just... I'm guessing the name of the title. Doomsday Kingdom... Live with James? I don't know. That should do it. Whoa! 16 walls! I can't comprehend the amount of walls. Oh, because it's just default, it just says Doomsday Kingdom live stream. I get it. I'm not going to put music on, so if you want to listen to music in the background while we do this, then that's fine. Just because I don't want us to be in any bad standing while we first get on with this. Even though I always specifically choose royalty-free music, somehow I just think they're tagged wrong on YouTube. They just want you to listen to it. Because obviously, if they're promoting royalty-free music, no one's getting anything money-wise. But yeah. Okay, this is going to be cool. So let's just... we'll just put this up for a second. I need to make sure the pop-up window doesn't keep coming off. It's weird because I'm using it. I'm using the YouTube channel as a third person, so I don't have the live dashboard. I literally just have what you see as a chat window, which is kind of freaking me out a little bit. Hallie, It's working time. You gotta stop crying. What do you want? What are you moaning at? We're getting ready to draw. You always have to start now. Where are you going? Jesus. Alright. Oh god, so what are we doing today, children and adults alike? We're doing... Well, you're starting with me at the beginning. We're doing page 1, issue 5. And this webcam has not been mirrored. It's going to go full screen in a second. I don't know if you heard Harley in the background there. Harley, you've been quiet. Oh, goddamn. Wait, I'm trying to stroke you, woman. Come back. She's been quiet all goddamn night, and then as soon as I start... There we go. That's better. It was throwing me off. I'm right-handed. Right, cool. We're all good. So, is John here? Got that. Thank you very much. Ronny is blessing us with his presence. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I was going to ink this page on paper, but what I'm going to do instead is just set up the rough pencils for page 2 as well, because I'm doing the I got to do all the backgrounds first, so that's all the technical stuff, which I'm just going to stick with keeping it digital, and then basically the pages get printed out, and then I ink over the top of it and do the final inks for the characters. But what I'm trying to find like a quick way of getting faster with doing the artwork instead of just doing it all digital, which it is quicker, but it means there's no original artwork. And I really want to let people buy the original pages. And because I suffer with some hand problems, even if I use a ruler, I end up messing them up, messing lines up. So I'm deciding to go a different route and do the outlines, like the wireframes of anything that's perspective-wise, so buildings, backgrounds, all that kind of stuff. Anything with long lines, which, even though you can use a ruler and it's not that much difficult, it's a lot quicker doing it digital, and it'll save me time when it comes to inking the pages. So basically the characters that you see on the page now, which are in blue, that's pretty much how they will look when they get printed, and then I'll do the final details over the top, because this will all be printed out very, very lightly on paper, so you won't see it because it will get covered with actual real ink. So I'm seeing if this is a method, a hybrid method that's going to work for me, so that I can have original pages but speed them up by having some of the backgrounds done digital. Unless it's a real simple or a full page splash where the buildings or the background's not needed to be super detailed or complex because the characters will fill the pages, then I'll probably end up just doing that all on paper. But the thing with me and my art process is it changes every day, so my tablet happens to not be responding. So I'm just restarting that and then we'll get going. I'll show you the whole page in a second. If you've not read issue 4, don't want it to be spoiled, then you can put a different window up on YouTube and just listen to me if you want. It's up to you. Okay, cool. So now my cursor should show in a second on your screens, just so you know where I'm looking. Where has it gone? Settings. Where is it? It says capture cursor, but I don't think you can see it. Oh no, there it is. Look, that circle is the where I'm going to be drawing. And of course, look at that. The tablet is unresponsive. It's supposed to have pressure sensitivity. This is just making one dead line. Let me save it and restart the program. I hope I don't have to stop this stream because that'll be really annoying. Let me see what you're saying in a second. Pop this up. Alright. The window is now active. Where's the actual YouTube page? Oh, there we go. So he's put Doomsday Kingdom live stream with artist. Me! Yeah, boy. I'm gonna give that a like. Okay. Let me see if this works. If I cross this off. Please work. This isn't my first time ever live streaming, so I don't know why it's decided to mess up now. Let me just restart the program. Let's see if it's coming up in my feed as well. I'm on my phone listening to music. Okay, there's the logo at the top. Doesn't show in the actual feed, it just shows in the little circle bit. Wait, where's it gone? Has the live stream stopped? Oh, what the fuck? What? Am I seeing things? This has just stopped, hasn't it? Oh my... What the hell? I haven't stopped. It ended. I'm so confused. It's not showing up on the YouTube. Oh no, it is showing on the phone. That's so strange. Who's commenting as Doomsday Kingdom? Is that you, Ronny? It showed up in the feed, and then as soon as I clicked on it, it took me to the channel, and then nothing was playing. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, look, when I went to subscriptions, like it's showing there, but it's not showing that we're live. Oh, now it shows. 10 minutes later. Cool. Alright, sweet. Okay, so how's everybody doing? It is Monday. It already feels like it should be the weekend. Let's see if this works this time. I'm trying to make sure that nothing spoilery or personal information shows on this drawing screen. Hey, there we go. Okay, so this is what I basically wanted to happen. Because I'm using a tablet, it's got pressure sensitivity, so the lighter you touch, the thicker you touch, or the harder you touch, the more the pen acts like a real pen. But yeah, almost Friday. Yeah, well for me, it is 2 hours away from Tuesday, I guess. That's one thing. Okay, so this is the page. This is page 1. So yeah, what I was saying before is basically I've done the wireframe of the background digital, so that'll get printed out with the rest of the images being like super light, so I can like draw over them. Like you can barely see it on your screen, but I'll still be able to see it on the paper just enough so that I can draw over it. So basically it will act like there's ghosts, because like when you take them out, it's like where the hell have the characters gone? But yeah, that's what it's like. Okay, so who's read issue 4? Hopefully some of you have read it, because this will this is obviously a direct continuation of issue 4. Who's talking on Facebook as well? There's loads of people. Spin, it's a given that you've read it. I'm only seeing a couple people commenting, but more people watching. So basically what I'm going to do at the minute is just this perspective I did in my iPad, but I'm just going to redo a quick one in Manga Studio, or Clip Studio, which is the program I'm using now. Just to make sure I've got the final lines how I like it. I'm not feeling pretty for a face cam today. Ruler, perspective ruler. And we'll need 3-point perspective, even though it's something as simple as a window close-up. 3-point perspective is what we need, so that basically means, I don't know how much explanation you guys want, but it's basically a 3-point perspective is you'll have a vanishing point above the panel, so at the top, and it'll be pretty much like way off the page, especially if you're doing buildings, unless you want to do a wide angle camera shot. But typically to have a building simple as this, you need like, and this is your page, the top of your page. The vanishing point for the vertical needs to be like super high, because then basically lines will come off it. Pretty much accurate. And then the second and third points are on your horizon line, which you put the horizon line wherever you want. So if you want a tilted angle, as long as you put 2 and 3, your second and third vanishing points on the horizon line, this will make the box for the next thing. So basically all the lines, so for this mirror, this window, even though it's simple as this, it's basically, I'll show you when I'm set up in a second, but the horizon point is the eye level of the camera, so that's the camera, and that's the thing. So if you're stood next to someone who's the same height as you, your head is basically the camera. So this is you as the camera person, and their person, the person that you're looking at in the camera, is the same height as you. So essentially, wherever you're looking is the horizon line. If you're crouching, so obviously your camera is here. Can't really draw someone crouching at the minute, but someone crouching, then you're looking at them from crotch level, which means you're slightly looking upwards to them. And that's when the perspective would start to tilt. So then the head would be smaller. Do you see that difference there? It's like, it's very subtle, but instead of it being a straight guy, like they're receding into the background here, whereas this one's just straight. It's very technical stuff. It's obviously not that important for you to know, but this is the process that you have to go through in creating any kind of artwork. So to make this window, we're basically going to do this. Let me get the perspective point. This confused the hell out of me, the way this program works, but this line that I'm moving here, where this red square is the horizon point. So basically I'm going to like determine where I want it. So basically the general rule is, if you're looking up at something, then you put the horizon low because you're looking up. And if you're looking down at something, you put the horizon high. So if you imagine very simply, let me just turn all this off. So this is the horizon line, and we're looking from this perspective. So that's like cone of vision, and we're looking down. Basically, and imagine these 2 points are just simple roads. So we're looking down at the roads. I mean, this is very fucking awkward to show. I am not a teacher. You just imagine something simple like this. This is because the horizon is high, so we're looking down on a scene. So obviously like a car. Very shit Minecraft car would look like this, and you're looking at the top of it. If we change the point to be low, we are now looking up at something. So basically, if say we're underground or just looking at a building, basically now the buildings look like this. They're just shitty windows. Do you see what happens? So basically you can never really mess it up. You just have to make sure that you're on the right line leading off. So these top and bottom lines are going to the right vanishing point, which is this direction. So this line that I'm drawing, which is the bottom of the mirror, is going off to this point here. And that's how you find like the bottom of something. So it's just drawing up. and then the lines for this building is going to the left vanishing point there. It's kind of simple when you break it down. It just confuses a lot of people when you see the finished image and it's like super detailed and like all the windows have details and all that kind of stuff. But if you just break it down to as if you're doing a Lego, just do massive boxes before you start drawing anything inside them. And that gives you your base idea. Put this all back up. And this is where I like working digital first for all the planning stages, because I can just turn layers on and off to make it less confusing to look at. Because it really hurts my brain, like thinking this is the hardest part of making anything, is the whole laying out stage, making the sketches and stuff like that. Because once you come to inking, you're essentially just playing around with ink until you get a finished image. And obviously you need to know what to draw, like how to draw things, but this stage, what I'm doing now, everything that's in blue is like the hardest thing to work out, because you can't have a final image until you've decided what angles you want to play with, and obviously expressions and poses of characters that need to match the mood that Ronny's written in the script. So, something simple as a window going up into the distance, don't need this 3-point perspective. I'm just going to turn this off. I should actually name these. Full panel. John seems to not get any link, so give me a second. I'm allergic to my own cats, so every now and then I get really, really bad, like hay fever, snots or whatever. Okay, let me get some music in my headphones because this is so quiet. Live stream, baby. Yeah, let's just move this spot. I apologize for not talking a lot at this point, because this is where I need to just think for a second. Which I know makes riveting, engaging content to watch. But this is all live, this is all raw. And now I need to pretend that I know what I'm doing when it comes to moving this shit around. This is so weird to see it. It's always freaky for me looking at stuff live, which is just on the screen over there, and drawing at the same time. But for some reason this perspective is not going in the right place. So I'm going to try something else. It needs to be super low. It's been a while since I've used the perspective tools in Clip Studio, because I normally do it off my iPad, which is a lot more intuitive. Because essentially it shows you the perspective grid all in one, so it has like an overlaid grid, so it's easy to visualize where you're going to put stuff. But in Clip Studio it just shows these lines, and then you have to draw your own grid if you want to be super accurate of where things are going to go. Might do a 1 point. No, actually, it still needs to be a 2 point. Basically just need rotating a little bit. So basically these vertical lines of the window are going in the wrong place right now, so that's what I'm trying to figure out. It doesn't help that Clip Studio tends to center everything on your page, whereas with a comic page, you've got multiple images, so it's technically multiple pages on one. And that's why I don't like using this perspective tool. But once you get it set up, it's easy to use. The most important perspective, the most important vanishing points for this panel is this right one. So you can see I'm starting to line it up now with the window ledge that I've sketched in. So as long as one line hits it, we know that every other line now will connect. Because obviously it's software. That's that bit. Now we just need to figure that plumb line. That might be enough. Nope, that is way off. That's better. Oh my god, why is it so awkward? There we go. Okay, so that should be straight enough for us now. I'm just going to call that panel 2 BG. Where's my foot? There we go. It's a little tiny bit off. But for the most part, it's correct. So if we was looking at like a window ledge, this is what the perspective would be. Just start with simple shapes. And then the cool trick is like just adding these duplicate lines, and now you're making it look more three-dimensional. So I'll always do the perspective pencils first, and then it's just a case of picking the final lines with ink. Okay. So we'll get rid of that. And this is where the fun of perspective comes in, taking your time on every little line. It's kind of bugging me that it's not matching my pencils that I've already done. But it's alright. It's still technically correct anyway. What up, DKFC? So basically the illusion is just adding multiple lines to make something look more realistic and playing with different line weight, which is basically line thickness, to give it some separation and more realism. And then this is the outside of the window frame, and then the outside of the window frame has an extra wood panel. And obviously you can make this dirty and make it look aged once you've done the foundation of it. I'm not going to fill these in black because I'm going to do that with actual ink. I sent you a link, John. It never showed up on mine either. I had to click on the channel twice before it showed up. Okay, that's a window. Like, is all that work just for this? And then to make it look more aged, we'll just do little nicks. So you can just get your eraser. And I would do this traditionally with like white ink. Just do these dashed lines. But since this is a very high window, like technically it shouldn't be this eroded from the outside anyway, unless you've got really crap material. But I'm just showing for example. Even though I shouldn't show examples, because this is the final artwork that we're doing. And an easy way to make stuff look more worn is just do these little dash lines. And obviously when we colour it, I can make it go as clean or as dirty as I want. But since we're a zombie comic and it's supposed to be gritty, quotation mark, gritty, adding texture marks and all this kind of stuff is cool. I just haven't decided if I'm copying the way I did the outside wall, where it had this design. This overlapping design, which I kind of regret doing because I didn't know I was going to do a panel again from outside. But it's basically like a tiled effect. Like, it's a lot of work to do all this stuff, but it's worth it for the end result. And obviously these are 3D tiles, so we're doing a little bit of shadow for thickness. But I'll show you what I'm actually drawing, so you get some context. Issue 4. Technically, I don't want to show spoilers that much. Oh, I didn't even show it on that page, so I can't really show you. I have to get like super zoomed in. Yeah, do I want to repeat this thing? Because basically, in issue 4, Katie, Tristan go to Shy's house. And while Tristan was trying to find the spare key under one of the rocks, Tristan told her to keep an eye out. Because they're in a really bad situation at the minute. I'm not going to spoil the main event, but there's a load of gang action going on, basically. And so Tristan and that are getting caught off, so they've gone a different way to get to Shy's house. But Tristan tells Katie to make sure that they don't see them. So Katie's looking down the street, which is basically to give you a location sense. Shy's house is here on this street. It's like a T-junction. So there's houses here. So this is a road. That's another street, shall I say. That's a street. And then the streets go like that. So Katie was looking down this road because the guys and the girl were dragging a guy out from the back alley, which led to another street, and they're coming onto the main road. And they eventually saw that they went into that building, basically. I told James I was brainstorming ideas with you. James asked if it was my idea or was yours. I don't even know what the idea is. So yeah, all that was to say, the front of the building I specifically didn't draw with that detail, because this is the front of Shy's house. This is a apartment building that's split into 2 or maybe 4. Like, I don't really, we didn't specify how many houses are in there, how many apartments, but Shy's portion is here. So these are the front windows. So Katie's looking on this page that I'm doing now. She's looking at one of these. So yeah, I don't actually have to draw this tile detail. The living room where they go in issue 4 is in the back somewhere, looking out onto the back garden, back streets, which is where we're going to be going on this page, which is what I've drawn here. So I've drawn the back of Shy's house, and the window in issue 4 for the big finale is, this is the window basically that we see in issue 4. So hopefully when you read the whole, obviously issue 4 and issue 5 together, like, you'll get a sense of where everybody is. And so since this is like the first page, normally you'd expect to have like a full length, full page action shot. But since again we make our comic to be read again in volume format, there's no cover break, so we don't need to end on a full page and then start with a full page. So what I've tried doing here is incorporate the best of both worlds, where we've got a full page image in the background, and then I'm trying something new with having these panels laid over the top, because we still need to show this action. So basically, the guys are saying, they've gone down that way, and more guys are coming. You'll see 2 of them from issue 4, and then there's 2 new dudes. This one is a new guy, and this one's a new guy. So obviously indicating that there isn't just 3 gang members or whatever. So then we get Katie saying, "Oh shit, they've seen us," and then Shy's like, "Shit, everyone go out the back." So then we have these 3 cool panels where like Katie's jumping down the steps, Shy's getting ready to launch himself over the porch, while Tristan was in front kicking down the fence. So I've done this little action thing with the fence breaking or whatever, and I think that's pretty cool. I think it's a pretty dynamic page, and it shows the threat as well, so it all makes sense of why they're running. And then if you've seen the cover, well, I wonder where they're going to end up while they're on the run. Yeah, that's good. I don't have to do these tiles now. The only thing that really bugs me is that because I've gone crazy with adding details, I could spend ages like doing little details like this, because I think from my perspective, especially when I take the pencils out, like this looks like a very empty panel. But then I have to remember that I'm obviously doing the coloring as well, so all the texturing and all that kind of stuff comes out when I'm painting, because I do my colouring as if I'm doing a watercolour, especially now that I've gotten used to doing the colouring myself. So like you can see there's like subtle gradient effects, and there's subtle browns and different colours to show highlights and all this kind of stuff. And then in the grass I really like adding these blues and reds, because it makes it just look more interesting than just having it be one green colour and then a dark colour for shadows. Because basically the way shadows work anyway is since we've got a purple sky from the rainstorm, that's classed as a secondary light source. So your shadows have to match the color of the secondary light source. If you're outside, that means the sky. So when you look at things at sunset, if you look at shadows very closely, the orange makes a blue shadow. It's very strange how that happens, but it's because there's like blue in the atmosphere. And that's how you end up getting these kind of color schemes. But sometimes you can change it. Like if you wanted something to look more serious, then you could use a shadow color you could use red as a shadow color and give everything like a nice red tint to make it look super dangerous. If you want to do stuff that's sickly, then do it with like greens and purples and all this kind of stuff. Make main images bigger, less space. So now I need to do another 2 perspective grids for this one. We'll start with this one because it's simpler. I know this is riveting stuff. But selection, roller frame, perspective. Technically, we could do this as a 2-point perspective and then just manually rotate the grid, because it's essentially one, like if the horizon line's here, then one vanishing point is there, and that's making the main details of this porch divider wall, and then another vanishing point there to make the length of the wood. So basically what I mean is this makes the length of it, and then this one makes the width of it. So if we say we want it to be this short, then we get rid of all this excess shit. And this is why you do it in the pencil stage, because obviously you want to be able to erase it. And then the third vanishing point, which is off the page, is making the lines that are going down. So if I wanted a shot like that, which is more dynamic, then the vertical perspective points are going to be doing that kind of thing. So that's 3-point. But if you do a standard 2-point perspective, then your vertical lines are super straight. Because then we'd say, if we follow these exact straight lines, and then the lines for the receding, and then this line, as long as it links to there, is now in perspective. So now we have this. And then basically what I'm saying is you can just get rid of all that shit in the, that you don't need in the pencil stage. And then just rotate what you've drawn if you want to change it without having to add a 3rd point. And I'm only saying that because some people don't know how to do 3-point perspective, or they're uncomfortable with it, like I was when I started. Yeah, you can share it, John. Of course, this is everything Doomsday Kingdom is shareable that you're seeing publicly. So basically now we'll say that's our pencils. We will just make it go blue, and then we can do our final lines on top. And you can hand draw it, or you can keep the perspective grid you've made so you've done the exact lines. Because now you don't need to sketch multiple lines to find the ones you want. We've already done the hard work by working out. Now obviously if I was doing something organic like wood, or like debris or whatever, I wouldn't strictly adhere to the perspective grid that we made. So what I could do, so basically this is what it looks like without that pencil line. So now it's a super clean square. If I wanted to make this look damaged, then I can follow the line, and then I can do this kind of stuff. Get shaky with the lines, So this way I'm not snapping to the perspective grid. I'm just making the lines myself. And this is how I do like damaged things. I'll draw the base image. So you don't see a lot of things that I do. So the house in issue 1, like I started off with the house first. And we'll just do a simple version of it, even though this is super wrong. But like I'll draw the basic shape of it first, and then I'll make a new layer. And then I'll put a hole in the ceiling. Because now I know exactly where that hole should be in relation to everything else, so... See what I mean? Then there you got there you got a shitty destroyed house. Okay. Doing a stream was a really terrible idea at this stage. Because I'm not getting anything done. It's weird. I can't do live streams sometimes without trying to explain in detail what I'm actually doing. And some people don't care about that. They just want to see the image, but they don't realize there's so much you have to think about before you even see the final product. Now I've made so many excess layers, I need to get rid of them. So give me a second. That one has nothing in it. Should name these. Panel 1 to 1, 2, 3, 4 panels. Panels 1 to 4. And then this is panel 5. Whenever I look at the scripts, the first thing I look at is how many panels are in a page, so then I can cry accordingly. Because Ronny loves to give me like 8 panel pages, and then sometimes I like to... No, where's it gone? Uh-oh. We're still live? It said it disconnected a second ago. Yeah, Ronny will put, there's 4 panels, but then panel 4 is a split panel. So now there's like 3 things going on, so it's technically, this is now a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 panel page. And I'm just like, for fuck's sake. How long was I off for? My internet is not disconnected at all. I have no idea what's going on. Okay, we're doing the perspective 4. This panel shy, which is panel 1, 2, 3, 4. Panel 5. Oh, it's only a second. That's cool. But yeah, there's so much going into the foundation of making a page, which you're seeing me do right now. Ruler, perspective ruler. We're going to see what happens when we do 2. See what I mean? It centers in the middle of the page, which I don't like. But obviously the software doesn't know where I want the middle of the page to be, basically. So we're looking down. So now the horizon is actually above. So basically these lines, these are our 2 vanishing points. So this is vanishing point 2, or you can call it the right vanishing point. So if I imagine... The thing is, because I'm drawing a image that has no definable edge, like if I was making that piece of wood, and I know where the edge of the wood is, then I'd obviously put the perspective line to where that piece of wood is. But since this is cutting it off because it's a close-up, you can't really You just got to judge. Make a best guess of where it's going to be. This is way off because the vanishing point for the left is here, but we want it to hit this area, so we have to move the entire thing this way. And I always make like just a throwaway layer just to see where lines are going. So basically the line I want, the first line for this is going way off. So what I need to do is just basically lower the horizon line down a bit more. Nearly there. It might need to come more left though. And now obviously my sketch is not going to line up exact because it was just a rough sketch, but the idea is before you start doing any perspective grid is to have a sketch, even if you can't draw, but you know how to use a perspective tool, you could actually make really good backgrounds. So I say that as a thing to make me sound that I don't know what I'm doing, but essentially, as long as it matches up closely to at least one straight line of your panel, and you like the perspective that it's actually giving you, because obviously it's the real perspective, like you can't argue that it looks wrong. The sketch looks wrong now that we've got our initial lines, but my sketch isn't that off where it's completely out. So to explain that, it's basically, if my window line, for example, was going like that, then obviously my sketch is super wrong in relation to the perspective, but it's not what I've done here. The perspective is pretty much accurate. That's the window. The vertical lines are going to go up there. Maybe like that. But yeah. It's fairly accurate with this. Now we've just got to do a final line. So I made it a bit simple without having to go crazy. Normally, a divider wall would have a base piece of wood hanging off the floor, but I've just done it so that the wood columns are just built on top of the actual floor. So now what we're going to just do is line these up. So, but this line here is my guide basically. And then to make sure these all these columns have the same thickness, we'll just do another line. And you can do this on other layers. I'm basically using the ink layer as a pencil layer. So now basically we don't need to go past this line basically, and then they'll always be the right size. The one thing I hate about perspective is that sometimes it gets so frustrating when you see something that's off, even by like a half an inch or something, because you're drawing everything by hand and you're not really measuring out with a ruler. Like I'm worried about getting these spaces too wrong. So like this is obviously apparent that they haven't got the same spacing, but then you can also argue, if you don't want to get too technical, you can just say, well, the person who built it wasn't really good at building something. And that's just an excuse you can have as an artist to say, I didn't really see anything wrong with my initial drawing. So you can see the lines are getting a lot, well, you can't really see, but I can feel it because I'm snapping to this perspective grid, but the lines are starting to, they're gradually going like that now. Or should I say down? But yeah, we've only done two-part perspective, so all these lines are actually going to be super straight. Which now that I think about it, I kind of don't want. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. I might just see what it looks like when we rotate this specific panel first. Okay. So many people trying to talk to me. I'm not going to bother putting one there, it's fine. Yeah. So obviously because we're looking from a top-down angle, we're only going to see the left edge and then the very top. So this would be in shadow just to give it some dimension. And then this is now erasable. Because again, what I was going to do is, like, if I was doing realistic, then I would do an extra layer of wood and have these poles connected to the wood, and then there's a gap, because then this is the actual floor, and then we say, like, this is the base of the building, this line here, and the door frame could be there. I imagine at this point, your blueprint for pages and how you visualize to put into panels is the toughest part. The drawing and colors takes time. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, this is the point. I can color and render the characters out as cool as I want, but if the base perspective is wrong, it's going to make the whole image look shit. But the reason why I've decided to just do this wood sticking into the base of the floor is just because it's quicker to do, and it's not really that important. And you can't really see it on the balconies because of the thick base of the balcony is hiding it from view, so I just wanted to keep it all simple at this point. So basically, when we take the underdrawing off, we'll say this is the base of the floor. I'll show you what it looks like in a second. So basically, the house at the back looks like this. You got a porch, and you got steps. So this is the base of the porch, and then we have the divider. Doing this. The door's there, obviously. Window. Balcony. And then the living room from issue 4 is there. Like, that's the window, which is here. So obviously you'll be able to see, because that was the annoying thing when I was doing this sketch, is that before I had these two panels overlaid, I was drawing the stairs there, but then I realized the panels are going to cover it. So just to make it obvious where the guys have come from, Shy's obviously jumping over the banister, which you can see in this panel, the one with Katie jumping down the steps, and Shy's about to jump over it, just to be cool. And then the coolest part of it is Tristan kicking the shit out of the fence. He likes kicking things. Issue 3, issue 2. Was it issue 2? Issue 3? Beginning of issue 3. Kicking the hell out of that creep. But yeah. Oh, I didn't move it back in place. That was the whole point of undoing all that shit. Tristan didn't have a prisoner. You're assuming things. Where's my perspective point gone? Oh, I've probably tripped myself up now having to move that. Oh, there we go. So to give it some separation, obviously this is going to be brick wall. And then we've got grass there, which is the base. Quite a big grass actually, so I might have to make it smaller. And so obviously follow the perspective that we've done, so it's just annoying. It looks like it's joined by this big panel, but it's not. It's alright, it's fine. What prisoner? Oh, yeah. I like drawing kicks. We know that Tristan is a zombie king. Do you though? Right, I've proper lost what I'm doing now. That's the banister. So the annoying thing is the Shy's nowhere near it. So I have to move it up a bit. That'll do. That means I can draw some more. Make it actually look higher now. By putting the grass back to where I wanted it initially. Okay. Right. For some reason, that is not on perspective. Now it is. See how finicky this crap is? All this work to get a page where you'll just glance over it in less than a minute. Okay, so we'll just say follow the line. We'll say there's only a small porch, so basically the base of the building is this line. And we've got a window in the sketch because the steps are here, essentially. The door's not going to be in shot. So we're drawing this portion here, basically, or a little bit more to the left in this general area. Who has fallen asleep watching this? Saving it, and then we've got a window, but that window's now too low. So we're not even going to see the window now, which makes this panel look even more empty. Damn it. But the banister's too small now as well. God. Okay. The banister has to be like this friggin' big. This is why you do your pencils first, kids. And now it's not even going to be in bloody perspective point anymore. Now Shy's not touching the thing. Why did I do it so small in that sketch? Well, it's bigger in that sketch because it's a sketch, and it's smaller in this one. What do I want to do? It can't be knee height, but it is. I've done it knee height in these big panels. Oh no. I'm just going to make them a bit longer for the fun of it. Fuck it. I don't care. This is the thing with like hand drawing stuff. Like it's super hard to get every panel of it accurate. So what you'll see people do is use 3D software, which I do use 3D software to help plan out things. But some people, especially in the new Daredevil, which I really love the art style in the new Daredevil, but he literally took the 3D models and just dumped them onto the page without drawing them again, like in his own style. So obviously the upside is that every angle that he rotated it, the buildings are going to look super accurate, but it looks too real because the drawing style is not real. So it has that uncanny valley effect. Whereas I'm like doing my own perspective on these buildings. So obviously the perspective is correct, but the scale of the buildings and individual parts of the buildings might be too big or too small, or not be the same size like I've just shown here. Like the panel in the divider wall in this panel is bigger than what I've drew it here. I can catch it sometimes and then fix it like I'm going to do now, but sometimes you just can't. And then you have to live with your inferiority of drawing. That's cool. I don't really think about it that much. Like, we're trying to tell a story, that's the main thing. As long as the art looks somewhat realistic, then that's all that matters. Well, we'll see Marty again. Now that they're longer, the spacing needs to be a lot wider now. Will you ever see the little girl in the window again? I know the answer. Technically. I just don't want to spoil the volume 2 stuff. I'm not saying it ties directly to the girl, I'm just saying if I mention anything to do with it, then it's going to spoil it. So I cheated there a little bit by just moving it. But the lines still kind of match. It was all gravy, baby. Shy pencil. Well, Ronny revealed, you know, the locations and stuff like that for the next few issues, and it surprised me. You offer to be Marty's meathead's bodyguard in the future. So does that base still line up now? Shy will still fit on here, which is good. I'll protect the little guy. Somebody's got to do it. The way I do my characters, I'll just pretend I'm drawing action figures. Like, there's the leg, there's the underpants, underpants shape. I want to make sure that I'm actually getting most of his leg there. I don't want to make it look like he's just sitting on it. The annoying thing is I should have done a low angle, but because every panel on this page is pretty much a low angle, the one panel where a low angle would work, I've decided to do a top down one, which is hard to show that he's jumping over something, because pretty much no matter where I put him, it looks like he's just sat on it. That looks better. That looks cool. And I'm really like forcing myself to get more creative with or more dynamic, should I say, of poses. Like this sort of pose I would never like thought of doing unless if it wasn't in the script. We've got, so his body's a little bit, because we're looking down at him, his neck area needs to be a little bit bigger because it's foreshortened. And so foreshortening is a thing that's hard to get without using reference. But it's essentially, obviously this is the torso, and then we've got the underpants. And this is obviously what he looks like from a straight on angle. So like the way I'm on about action figures is that I'm imagining there's a ball joint between the elbows. So obviously drawing the torso now, like this is looking straight at it, like flat angle. So obviously looking top down, if we imagine the torso is one cylinder, like this, and then we've got cylinder shapes for the legs, you'll notice the curves are going like this because we're looking from an angle here, so we're looking down at it, so the curve of the body is going down. And then to do foreshortening like that is basically twisting it. So here's the bottom circle, and so this is the neck and the head. And we've got a circle there. More cylinders. If you want to get like super technical. So now obviously you can see this looks completely different than just a flat shot. So now it actually looks like there's some dynamism. I don't know how you say that word. It's more dynamic because now we're doing the foreshortening thing. So we'll say his pecs are there. And he's got a bit of a belly, so, well, I'll say that. He's quite ripped, I imagine. But he's wearing like super baggy clothing. And it's just a case of like trying to find out where I want the heads to be. It's a little fuzzy. Shouldn't be. We're streaming in 1080. Bear in mind, I'm using an 8-year-old monitor to draw on. So the quality is not super crisp, but yeah, so this is like me breaking down the images, the shapes. And the thing is, like, people get annoyed at people who use reference or whatever. But it's like, you can't possibly draw every pose accurately. Like, this is what I imagine this pose looks like. If I just took a picture of myself doing this action or whatever, or did a 3D model, maybe the elbow is in the wrong place and it should be there. But I obviously want the drawing to feel like I've drawn it and not like traced the model. So like his legs look like they're bulging out a little bit because his underwear line is there. So maybe in the real life it would be there. And then you've also got to remember there's muscles. So basically these little bits here is the arse. So if you imagine the thigh is all grouped into a kneecap muscle, there's like layers of it, and then that's the butt, and that's connected to the hip bone or whatever you want to call it, love handles. And then you got the six pack. This is very basic, but yeah. Can you practice poses to draw functionality? Yeah, but I don't consider, like, I don't know if this pose looks good. To me, it looks crap because I've drawn it, and I'm thinking maybe it looks wrong because I haven't seen a picture, but it sells the point, and that's the main thing that you need to do, because otherwise it will take me even longer to draw. Yeah, like if you took like a photograph and overlaid this pose on it, the legs might be too far. Like, I mean, especially here, you can see that his right leg's way outside of his body. So just connect it, and there we go. We pretty much fixed it. And we're just imagining muscles and all this kind of stuff. So like, the calf muscle is here. And then it's just this case of his hand. And because we're looking down, that's his palm. And his fingers are basically invisible because they're underneath the wood. And this is a small panel overall, so essentially I can just do this shape. Because he's gripping underneath it. You don't need to see his fingers like sticking out, because obviously it won't even make sense unless you were doing them loose. But again, what I'm saying is, because this is what I imagine the pose to look like, but what would probably happen is that you'd probably see more movement in this other round, because obviously he's trying to balance it out. But I don't want it to be like bent like this one, so obviously I want to make contrast. And it's not as fat as the arm here, because this is closest to the camera, so obviously everything in the background is going to be a lot smaller. Not too much, but it depends on how extreme your lens is if you're using like a real camera. And his pec is going to be covering some of the arm shape as well. And he's also wearing like a big hoodie, so to show movement, I'm going to have like the hoodie obviously moving with the motion and like the drawstrings to make it a bit more realistic or whatever. But I think that looks pretty cool. And as long as it matches this, like you can tell what he's doing. And now it doesn't look like he's sat on it because I've made sure that his ass is away from the edge of it. But now he's a dude jumping over something, which I'm pretty happy with. Another thing as well, like I'm streaming this, makes me feel like I'm under more pressure because you're seeing everything, the whole process. Like I've shown time lapses of me drawing stuff. Like I'll show you the time lapse actually of this page. It took me quite a few tries to get it where I wanted. The guys at the top. Let me get a video. My channel. And you'll see some of my planning stage, because me and Ronny like to do top-down blueprints nowadays. Well, we've always done this, but it's becoming so valuable. So like, we'll plan out what the streets look like. You know, there's trees down the streets with certain things off them. Then we've got like houses on either side. Then we've got other streets. And these streets are fairly real anyway, like if you look on Google Earth or whatever. Where is my video? Videos. There we go. So this is a first I was just figuring out what kind of panels I wanted to do. But this is the planning stage of this page that we're doing now. Like I say, originally that bottom panel was going to be split into 3 shapes. If you look at the zigzaggy patterns at the bottom. But then I wouldn't have been able to do like a full page as the background. So this is me doing the imagining what the street looks like from memory, because I have seen this actual real street because I used it for reference for the comic. Since we're in a real city, like I like using Google Earth to like virtually travel down, because I don't even know what American streets look like compared to English streets. So, shield your eyes. Little spoiler happening there. Let's get to the actual page. Oh fuck. I ruined it. Well, it's not really ruined. You don't know what it is. It's only a small scroll. This is, so at the top now is me trying to, this is me doing the very, very, very first the idea of what the panel is going to be. And you can see how many times I redraw, but I'm not using like models. Like I'm trying to imagine from my head what it would look like. And even though you don't see the feet, I like drawing in the whole body to make sure that they're all standing on the same plane or whatever. Especially the guy pointing his finger is the guy with the dreadlocks from issue 4. The woman has hung back with the white guy that they took. And as they're walking down the street, 2 more homies meet up with them, which is why the guys on the right are doing like a fist bumping thing, like doing a hammer fist bump. So there I am doing the stick figure that I mentioned in the spin review. Like, I'm literally just starting off with lines and circles, and then I'm just drawing the arm shape around it. It's just 2 extra lines. It's really not that difficult. The difficulty is making it obviously look realistic. Like, this is a sped up version. This took me like an hour and a half just trying to figure out what these guys look like from this angle, because it's a crotch shot, mid shot looking up, and the rain will help sell that illusion as well, that we're looking up as well. He's a bit more hench in that sketch than what he was in the actual comic, so I'm going to have to slim him down a little bit. But even now, I was trying to figure out what the hell their hands look like. And it was throwing me off as well, because he's got like one of those classic gangster shirts, like the oversized shirts basically with like super long short sleeves. It makes it look like he's got his hand like super, it looks like he's got small arms basically, even though he technically hasn't. And because I'm always drawing Tristan with longer limbs, since I have longer limbs because we're taller, whenever I draw someone that's not Tristan, it always puts me off. And I always doubt myself thinking, am I drawing this correctly? Do they look like a normal proportioned person? And then Ronny threw that curveball and gave me Marty to draw, and I'm like, how the hell do you make a small adult not look like a child? These are the problems I face. Thanks, Spin. Basically, any money that I'm getting is going towards my driving lessons. I was so annoyed. I booked in 5 lessons to start with last week, and I've done them already. Like, I've already done like 5 hours of driving, and you got a discount because it's your first time. But I thought it meant you get an online discount. So basically what happened was I would have just paid for 20 hours in advance and gotten like £100 off. So I go to book my lessons today, and they're like, yeah, it's going to be full price. And I'm like, what the hell? So now I pretty much like I've spent more money than what I fucking had, basically. So that money helps. Long story short. Because then basically what I'm going to do the whole reason why I'm getting a car is so that I can take on outside jobs and do like more music videos and stuff. That way it will free me up to do more time on the comic. Because I won't have to worry about money. But yeah, I'm still like detailing that top panel without even fully knowing what I was doing. And then this is me trying to figure out what the bottom panel is actually going to look like. I'll say you don't have to draw a masterpiece to get the idea across. Obviously it helps if you can draw like more detailed or whatever, but Ronny could technically give me the whole issue as like little fun, like as little stickmen, and I would know what he likes or whatever, but it just doesn't need to, because obviously then I won't have any real input myself if I don't get to like make up what we're actually going to see. As long as what I draw is what Ronny wanted in the script, then we're all good. Like that's collaboration. And then somebody is trying to figure out how big to make Katie, because she's small, and my instinct is to always draw characters bigger, just because I'm used to drawing Tristan more than anyone, and because there's the same way you draw what you know. Like most men are better at drawing men than they are women. That's not obviously true for every artist, but the same thing happens with me, especially because I've got longer than normal limbs. Beside the fact that I'm tall, I do the same thing when I'm drawing like every character, because I'm just so used to my proportions being a bit different to the average person. And yeah, then I was like, I don't really like that panel is covering up Shy and Katie, because I wanted this panel to be a cool shot of them as well. And obviously this would be quite big on the page, so I just made the decision to move that panel. But why I kept it in a zigzag is I kind of wanted it to be a little bit more dynamic, but really it's not needed, because it's still dynamic with what's happening in the panels. Okay. Nearly done. Doing a headshot is pretty easy. Doing the working out for that. And then them lines are snapping because there's a perspective grid in Procreate, but it doesn't record that on the screen. So I'm not just drawing those lines super accurate to perspective straight away. I still have to do the same grid thing that I've done tonight. Did I pause it? And then even there, like I was liking this whole shot, but I didn't realize where she was supposed to look for the street, so obviously I changed the body direction. But then I didn't like that the window was like bleeding into this panel with Katie jumping down the steps, so I flipped it. And that way it also works as a reader. So you're starting, obviously, at the top. Like, he's pointing, basically, going straight down there. She's looking there. Shai's got his head angled to them in the room, but his eyesight is basically leading down to here. Then it goes here. And obviously his body's going off the page, but I just had to do a page. I had to do a panel break because I didn't want everything to be going to the right. But if you essentially say the leading line to go from this Katie panel is following the fence, basically, going that way. And obviously Triss is kicking the fence to the right, which should mean you as the reader is also dynamically getting flowed across the page. You're following the action of his foot, and then you turn the page, and then you're on page 2. So that's another thing I think about as well, is like the directions of where things are in the images to make it easy for the reader to look in the right directions. Have I lost you all? Yeah, that's the base of the thing again that we just established. Get rid of Shai. So technically, we're not really going to see anything. We'll see some like texture for the floor. I might do floorboards, just so it gives it a little bit of dimension. We've also got shadow direction, so if we're saying the shadows coming, the light's coming from this way. Yeah, then that would be shadows on this side, but I'm gonna see it. We'll just indicate where the floorboards are. And again, I can texture these out to make it look less white. But again, I'm going to color it anyway, so you're going to know that these are 3 separate things. Because basically where that porch wall is jumping over is essentially there's the steps. So this is brick wall here. And then this is just like white painted concrete. Like an extra layer on top of the porch. So we're saying it could be concrete, or we could put painted floorboards. That means we need a line there. And we're not going to see that grass anymore. Lucy, I mean Lisa, how you doing? Ooh. Oh, we had been streaming an hour and a half. Wrong window. So this is the brick wall here. Now basically I'm just drawing in the exact... These obviously don't look like real bricks, but this is essentially the pencil stage, so I'm just drawing in where the bricks would be in perspective. And then we're going to make it blue, and I'm going to redraw over it to make it look more real. Welcome to our new home, Lisa. Cool, so that is enough detail there. I'll just make that line a bit thicker because that's essentially shadow being created. But I think we'll be alright doing floorboards because I don't think we're going to see him in any other panel on this page, so I don't mind it. It's just, I'll hate it if we have to draw this building again, which we will. I know for a fact we have to draw this building again. But it's cool. Like I say, I want to add that detail, but it's a fact like I have to balance the need for detail and time. So I'm doing all this detailing, but how much time is this taking away from me being able to start a new panel? Take that off. But again, it's worth it in the end. Like, you have to sacrifice time for detail, basically. Caught in my headphones. Ooh. I'm looking forward to being able to upgrade my graphics tablet to something a lot bigger. This is only like a 12-inch screen, so it's basically like the size of both of my hands. I have big hands anyway, but I can't wait to get a bigger one. Especially when I move, like I can't wait to set up like a proper studio environment, basically, because I'm gonna have, for whenever I do Doomsday Kingdom stuff, I'm gonna have like a post-apocalyptic theme setting in the background, because I'll be using the biggest room to record vocals and voiceovers and music, and I'll have a corner of it set up for drawing and live streaming and doing. I'm going to start making proper YouTube videos once I get the Patreon started. So we'll do like really high-end production stuff, because I've got a load of expensive video equipment waiting to be used. So I'm going to have like, you know, the ivy backgrounds. I'm going to have the mannequin set up in the background with the rider outfit on it, because I have a full-size rider costume. Shelving for obviously comic stuff and other nerd stuff that I like. Okay, so that sells the panel. This is a wall. I kind of want something to indicate that it is a wall and not just a blank space. Alright, let's just do the final. Oh, I need to do a quick perspective grid for this, actually. So I think I could just do a 1-point perspective for that panel. This is the easiest perspective to do because it's just 1 point. It's a lot easier to line up with stuff, so. This blue line is the horizon line, the straight across line, and we're going to rotate it a little bit to give it more dynamic for the panel as well. So all we have to do is just move this. And then this pink line is the vertical line, so basically our door frames want to line up to that. So this is only a subtle curve, but I'm gonna make it more angled, because then it zigzags. What I might end up doing is just flipping this panel. Then you get a proper zigzag action going on. But I have to rotate this panel this way. So we go like that, and then like this. I've got all the flexibility in the world, so if I feel like after I've drawn that I want to flip it, then I can do that in digital. So for now we'll just keep it like this. And I think that's all we need to do, really. We've got shiny pencils. That is panel 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So basically the information in this panel here is enough for me to just print it and draw the rest of the details on it. Oh, thirsty. Panel 4. We'll just do a quick sketch to see if it matches. Which it will match. This is not a hard one to do. Hardest thing is just doing these steps. How big I want them. I mean, this is quite easy actually because it's a cool perspective. An easy perspective, shall I say. There's the steps. And I'm doing this at a wide angle, so they're going to look drastically bigger the closer up to the camera. I have to make sure I draw 4 steps now every time we see this building. We've got 4 steps there. So this is that wall basically that we've just drawn here, and you can see here. I need to do some more bricks there. That's the white wall, and then this is the brick. So with these far out panels, obviously want to make sure these bricks are smaller than this close up. But I'm not going to draw every brick because there's no need. And it's going to get colored to look like brick anyway, so. We've got grass there, and then grass here. This is just leading out to the back garden, basically. Then this is the dividers. So now we can add some shading a little bit, and then make sure we've got the same spacing as close as we can. Again, it doesn't have to be super exact. And then basically is to show the 3-dimensional brick, the bases are being determined by that vanishing point. They're not that super big, but big enough. So this is why I like that I'll be just doing the backgrounds digital, because this takes time as it is. And I really don't want to have to like redraw this all over again. So we've got the door frame. I'm not doing like a crazy intricate door frame because Kate is going to be covering most of it, but it's going to look similar to that. Because again, these are dual apartments, so this building has like 2 or 4 buildings in it, which is why it's split in the middle. There's technically a door here. Just say door frame. And then the window needs to look like this. And this is where you just do it by eye now to make sure it's relatively sized to the door. But again, windows can be any size. You're just drawing whatever feels right. And because these are in the distance, I can't draw all of these lines that you see here. So the only way we can sell it is just by thickening up the shadow lines, which are the lines underneath, opposite to the shadow. I'll do. And then, is there a mirror on the other side? Window. Okay, Shize is a little bit different. He has 2 windows. Just because I want something to fill that space. But this line here is the balcony. It's obviously where it's going to be extended, so this is all going to be shaded. And then, if you just imagine it's like a curb of pavement, then we can do more of this shit. And then remembering that the vanishing points are going like that, so we're going to see the right side of the column and not the left. And then if there's one straight here, we're just going to see the exact front. So we're not going to see left or right of the column. But now we just have to make sure that these kind of match. If the architecture was super good and had really reliable builders, then the spacing should be exact for the top and the bottom. So this is me. This is what I technically call pencils, because again, I'm gonna make this next layer blue because it's more refined, and then draw the final over that. I could fit one in there. Oh yeah, because we're seeing the underside as well a little bit. We can make this bottom line thicker. What shape do we want for the window? Let's do a long side window for this one. All right. Oh my god, I talk so much that it's proper knackered me out. And now we're seeing the left side of the post because we're going to this vanishing point. And that spacing's way off. I'm getting confused by all these other lines. I will tweak these sizes once I take. When I turn the perspective grid off, I'll probably manually select around those again and just make them a bit more neat. Cool. So would we see the window? So basically on this page, Lisa, this window here is where the ending of issue 4 is. So you can tell by the shape, kind of. I mean, it's hard to tell because there's a panel in the way, but it's the window shaped like that. So if you imagine just in that, where they've now gone down the stairs to the back door, which is this, coming out of the steps into the garden. Shy's jumping over the banister to be a badass, while Tristan was ahead of them, kicking down the fence, when he could have just simply opened it with his hands. But then it wouldn't be as cool. I'm not going to draw the window in just to save time. There's no need for it, really. I think that's all I needed for that panel. Obviously, there's going to be like grass and stuff. What are you saying? Then that would be the sensible thing to do. Who needs hands when you have feet? Exactly. So to show, this is where it's hard to sell depth in an image when you're doing a first person perspective. So basically the grass in the background is going to be smaller than what I'm doing on the steps. And then obviously we could do like really detailed grass if we wanted to. Just depends how I feel on the day, which is today. It's not really that needed. Could do some like dead flowers or something. I don't know. Whatever we want. That might even get covered up, but Katie's gonna be basically jumping. And I don't know what a jumping pose looks like, so I'm gonna look at some reference photos or whatever. Because they're all in a rush. But I need it to make sense for why Shy's jumping over the balcony. Obviously Katie would be about here. And Shy's getting ready to jump. I just need to figure out what the pose looks like just as he's about to jump, but I'll do that later. Because this was just to get the background done. Yeah, so overall the page is pretty much coming together. The most important things is the perspective. Yeah. We'll just draw Shy in for some pencils, and then that'll be the end of the stream. Time freaking flies. This is panel 3. So now I just need to get a picture of Shy up without spoiling it for you lot, if you've not read the comic. Damn, dude, all this time and effort. I know. I really love Shy. Like, the way I drew him. He was based off a real guy initially, but I don't want to obviously draw exactly because of likenesses. But it's still pretty close. So, I've made his head a bit too fat. He's kind of in the same pose that I've done him there, same angle, but is kind of almost profile at this point. So we've got to do his nose, which is the guy that is based off. He kind of has this like hook nose type thing. As well as obviously the stereotypical bigger nose for African Americans. But I'm a nose guy. I love drawing noses. I love different people's nose shapes as well. Like I've kind of done it there, where it's like hooked in a little bit, whereas Tristan's nose is more obviously smaller there. And sometimes a bit sharper depends on how big he's in the panel. And then Shy's nose is hooked under a little bit. It's a weird shape to do, but I just like these style of noses more. Not a massive difference, but it looks different. You love Shy too, yeah? Always amazes me every time he draws. Total new creation. Comicized. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I can do his nose like Katie's nose and it'll look super weird. Like, Katie has like a weird, well, not weird, but she has like a cute button nose and it's a lot rounder compared to Tristan's. It's like, again, Tristan's more of the generic white guy size. And because obviously I'm drawing it, it's going to be... That's like a near perfect nose if it was real life. But yeah. Katie's is a little button nose. And a lot rounder, whereas Tristan's like angled. The time currently is... I don't know why I raised that nose. I like that nose. The time currently is 11:36, so we're going to stop at midnight. Oh, I've actually done the shape there. It's cool. But I still might use that. Where the fuck is the thing gone? Oh, I'm moving the wrong thing. Move layer. This is the joy about doing digital. I can just, if I like the shape of something, I can just copy it or drag it. Yeah. I know. I really want to play Paranoiac, but it obviously won't be on this channel. I might have to look at another picture of Shy. I might need a better angle of his nose. Issue 3 was the first time I did him, and I liked him in that. But at least I can show this on stream. No, I didn't. I did it from a front panel, but you can see where his nose is kind of like swooping under to his lip a little bit. 3:36 in the afternoon. God damn. Yeah, this one. Yeah, okay. Did I know? So now the eyes. Yeah. When you draw on the eyes, it's typically the same size as the nose. And now this is where it gets a bit annoying because you're drawing stuff from scratch all the time, trying to keep his shape right. His nose looks a bit too small on that page. And this is the first time drawing his mouth like this, so this is going to take me a few tries. He's got really pronounced cheekbones. I might need to take a reference picture for this because it's a strange angle for me. Chisel bones to the max. So again, to sell the fact that I want the reader to be looking at the right panels in the right order, I've also got Shy looking, because basically in the room, like Shy would be there, Tristan K is there, whatever, and is looking over his shoulder in that direction. Well, that direction, I think. The mouths, I really hate doing. I hate doing mouths. I hate doing them live as well. Gotta keep it in perspective. But I'm not entirely sure what the correct perspective is at this point on this page. Too chiseled. I want him to have like a worried expression like Katie would have. because I want Chad to be a bit more confident. I can't wait for you to, even me, I can't wait to read the progression of Katie. I don't know if anyone noticed, but there's a slight cut on his face. That's just to imply he didn't have a good time with his house guests in issue 4. I'm going to make his head a little thinner as well, so... make it the same thing. He's got like a super crisp outline for his hair as well. You can tell I'm really concentrating when I'm super quiet. He's also, yeah, like I said, he's got chisel cheeks as well, so... don't forget his hair. I'm not sure like how much... looks kind of right. But it's more profile, so his ear needs to be a bit more centered. That's the only thing it's from, because obviously we're comparing it to this image where it's not an exact angle. It's slightly different. Because the head's more rotated to the... it's more profile as on this side compared to this one. He's twisting his head a little bit as well. It's just I love doing the pencil stage though. It's so relaxing drawing like this. And at least I've got the safety net of digital, so if I don't like anything, it's a lot quicker to change stuff. So basically we'll just make them a little bit more blocky. Because we're looking up slightly as well, his hairline's going to be a little bit thinner. The top of his head is going to be, the top of his head is going to be less seen basically. Again, if it's looking too flat, then I'll change it in a second. Looks like him. Again, like I've not drawn him from this angle, so it's a bit trial and error. I mean, that looks good, right? Does that look like him? I love doing people's hair letters. just do a little highlight area, so we don't we're not going to fill the entire thing. And then he's got like a cool slick. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that looks enough like him. So I'm not going to obviously detail all this shit because you're gonna. Yeah, I'm not decided what kind of shadows I want on him yet. But as long as the base shape is there, that's all that matters. That's his neck muscle, should I say. His hoodie is quite big, so it's going to cover most of that. But again, I always draw the whole thing before I start cutting things off, because it's not that much longer to draw that than keep it. And obviously I want to show depth, because I would like, as an artist, you get to determine obviously exactly everything you want to see. I like seeing his whole head, but since he's got a big hoodie overlapping him, like the camera's here, so the first thing the camera's going to see is the hood, and then his head tucked behind it. Like we could go even more extreme like that. That's his eyes, obviously, and then that's his back. But I still want to make sure that, because it's a cool portrait of Shy, I want to make sure that we see most of his face, and because that's his shoulder, so it's basically in mid-turn. He's turning his head, but his body is full on profile. And again, I'll draw outside of the banner, outside of the panel, just to make sure the lines connect, and then just get rid of him. There's no skin off my nose to do that, and that looks pretty damn accurate. And my phone has just died. Yeah, I'm looking forward to doing this panel, getting to play with the light and shadow, because Katie's behind glass and the fingers are being pressed up. I've not done anything. Well, I have done it in issue 1, but I've never gone super realistic with the fingers pressing against the glass, so that'll be cool when it gets to that. And then obviously they won't be as super shadowed because we're seeing them through a pane of glass, basically. I don't want the blacks to be super jet black like here when we're seeing them outside, because then it'll just give you some more separation as well. So what I mean by that is like the window panel lines are going to be like super dark, and then the characters behind it will be grey pretty much, in a way. Like what you can see here. And then that gives them more separation, basically. Like what I did in issue 2. Ronny really loved this panel when I showed him it. I think he was swearing at himself, saying, fucking hell, why didn't I think of that? Or something. It's not a new thing, like I've always done. I like doing window stuff, because it's just framing inside a frame, basically. The panel's the frame, but I like framing the characters, because if you were filming something, that's a technique you'd want to do to make the overall composition look interesting, is frame them between 2 beams of wood or frame them between a door. Obviously you won't see a panel in real life, so you don't normally need to do that, but I like translating that effect to the comic page. Page 16. Like this one, there's still black lines, but I also accentuate it by putting an out of like a depth of field focus effect on it, because I wanted to tease foreshadowing Julie's demise by making a load of flies pretty much like kamikazeing against the window. So I made them like super clear as much as you can with a fly, but obviously their lines are a lot more crisper and a lot darker to show that that's what I want you to focus on and not specifically what's in the panel. We've got like all this shit. It was just a cool way of like saying, because flies fly around zombies, this was a cool way of me portraying that. I don't know how many people got that, or even noticed it or cared, or knew that there was a difference between the quality of the artwork inside compared to the window frame, but I liked it. And I I wrote down on the thing, thermometer package, because I was supposed to make a logo or take one off Google or something. But I was like, you know what, it's kind of funny, so I just left it like that. So just in case people were like, what the hell is that box? And I'm like, obviously it's the thermometer package because he's using the goddamn thermometer there. It just makes me laugh that it's super literal. It's like, what is it? It's the thermometer package. What more do you want? I don't know what brands of thermometers are. So that was like an inside joke for me. And then this is a cool behind the scenes thing as well. I deliberately put Tristan in front of the J. So basically it says Julie, obviously, if you see the J there. And you see the other page before it. But the thing is, when Ronny was talking, when he was initially discussing the Julie scene, I was under the impression that she wasn't dying. I was literally told that she's going to be falling asleep and then you'll just draw a shot of her dozing off in his arms on the next page. But then when I read the script after I had done this page, at this point in time, I was still thinking she's only going to be sleeping. Like, she's just tired because she's got a fever and she'll fall asleep. Then I drew that big page. So obviously once I knew what was happening on that page, when it came to doing the coloring for this, it spells you lie, as in Ronny lied to me. Because I thought she was going to make it. I thought she was just sleeping. But then the next day, the script was updated and it was like, this is the page where Julie dies. And I'm like, for fuck's sake. That's why we're going to do our issue 2 commentary soon. And we're going to do that as a live stream on Map, I think, instead of doing like a pre-recorded one. So that's going to be interesting. And I'm going to bring that point up again because it just makes me laugh. So yeah, it says you lie, as in YOULIE. Yeah. All right, people. That brings us to midnight because it's 2 minutes to midnight. I'm quite happy with that picture of Shy. Yeah, buddy. I'm still going to reference. This is the thing, like I'll draw a detail like this, but then I'll still take a picture of myself because I'm just concerned about have I drawn the teeth in the right place. Would you see that much teeth or whatever? But yeah, this is pretty much ready for me to not stream tomorrow. I'm only going to be streaming on this channel twice a week, so we'll probably stream again on Saturday. And then if you follow my personal channel as well, which is Observant Jim, then you'll see me if I'm streaming on other days. But what I'm probably going to do is, because I end up spending too much time talking to you, I'll just get it on drawing without you. Because basically, like, you've seen what the page is now. It's basically, I'm going to print this out and do the inking on paper. And then we'll have the first page available for sale if someone wants it. Yeah, I'm excited for this. I can't wait. I'm always happy to do the first page. I'm always nervous as well, because it's like, do I remember how to draw? Because the time between drawing a comic, then colouring it, I end up forgetting how to draw while I'm colouring because it's a whole different skill set. And then we obviously have to deal with the post-release. So it means I'm not drawing for like 3 weeks or 4 weeks after we release an issue because we've got all the promotion and the company stuff to do behind the scenes, which people don't seem to understand that. Like, people say draw faster, and it's like, I have to run a business as well as draw, as well as colour the comic. Obviously, Ronny takes more time like doing the shipping and stuff, but we still have a lot to do. And especially now, we've got to plan out what our campaign's going to look like for the volume. I've sent the files off for the volume as well, and the signature service, so they're going to get coloured. I'll probably colour that on maybe I'll colour that on Saturday, because at least that's easy for me to do and it won't take as long. We'll colour the volume cover. Yeah, that's cool. All right, everybody. So thanks for stopping by. Make sure everyone has put notifications on for this channel, because again, the hardcore group of Doomsday Kingdom, we want you to use this channel as well. But we'll still be posting stuff on the map channel. It's just if you want to see more behind the scenes stuff, like Ronny's going to post videos. He's got videos ready to go. Some of it's just like behind the scenes of like packing, or I don't know what he's got planned. He said he's got some videos that just need turning to public. But yeah, we'll do live streams on this channel as well. So thanks everybody, and I'll see you next time. Rot on. How's Ronny gonna know to end the stream?